Well, I am from South Bangalore. Tejasvi is from South Bangalore, is also the MP of Bengaluru South. And there is no way we can go ahead with a conversation without filter coffee. So we thought we'll come to Jainagar, come to Mayas.
Mayas, which is like the epicenter for
Exactly.
great
And
South Indian food here.
Absolutely. And as I said,
You want
the
some sugar?
conversation, yes. Thank you. The conversation always starts with filter coffee. So, busy coffee and busy path, Tejasvi.
Yes.
We spoke about how the election is going. If you notice, over the last few days, the discussion has been around Muslim reservation. On the one hand, Mr. Shah said it's unconstitutional, it's illegal. And yesterday, Siddaramaiah comes out and says, we will ensure the reservation cap goes up to 75% and will give reservation for everyone. How does the BJP plan to counter this?
Everybody is aware that the 4% reservation that existed in Karnataka, only and only on the basis of religion, with respect to the Muslims, was blatantly unconstitutional and illegal. Multiple judgments of various constitutional courts across the country have held that giving reservation to a particular community only and only on the basis of religion is illegal and unconstitutional. So what we have done is we have rectified this constitutional discrepancy and we have brought in a reservation scheme which is in consonance with the spirit of the constitution. From a very long time, both the Vokkaliga community and the Lingayat community were demanding reservation, and this was a demand that was unmet from many decades. Whereas to pander to their vote bank, from 94, this 4% Muslim reservation existed. We have corrected the constitutional discrepancy and we have brought in true social justice in spirit with the constitution.
Mr. Devegowda says that reservation was brought in because there was a third backward class commission report of Chinnappa Reddy. There was also Havnu commission. He says there was enough ground for it.
Well, what was there, what was not there will be discussed in the courts. But I can tell you very confidently that the intent behind giving this 4% religion-based reservation to the Muslims here was only and only with the intent of pandering to the vote bank. And now Mr. Siddaramaiah is faced with one important question by both the Lingayat community and the Vokkaliga community. They are asking him, because the Congress party has gone on record stating that they will scrap the BJP's policy and restore the reservation to 4% Muslim reservation. The Vokkaliga community and the Lingayat community are now asking as to who will be targeted by Mr. Siddaramaiah. Whose 2%, whose 4% will he take away and give it to the Muslims? And because he is not able to answer this question satisfactorily, he has come up with this new slogan of giving reservation to everybody, knowing fully well that it will not hold constitutional tests. The Congress party, Harish in Karnataka, has reached such depth levels of frustration and desperation that they will promise you the moon, the Venus and the Mars all together in the same line.
Well, while we are talking about reservation, let's just step out. We'll do have some conversation on the Katte. We've seen, okay, Tejasvi, as you can clearly see, is a quite popular face in South, so we'll have to oblige his fans. We've seen protests by the Lambani community as well in Shimoga at Mr. Yediyurappa's cafe. We've seen protests at Shimoga by the Lambani community outside Mr. Yediyurappa's house. How do you anticipate this to play out in the election?
Come Harish. ಆರಾಮಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಜಯನಗರದವರೇ.
So how do you see this panning out?
This was a question that you should have asked me 2 weeks ago when the issue was still alive, 3 weeks ago when the issue was still alive. It's not an issue anymore at all, because this whole internal reservation that the Chief Minister has exercised in Karnataka between the SCs and ST community was also a very long pending demand. And because it was such a hot political potato, Nobody wanted to touch it, nor had the courage of conviction to address it. Whereas the Honorable Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has handled the issue with a lot of sensitivity, has displayed great political maneuverability, and has made sure that a scheme is put in place which caters to everybody, that no community feels cheated, that everybody feels that their demands, their just demands have always been met. So I don't think it's an issue anymore. The Lambani community leaders themselves have come on record, and in fact the Lambani community from years together has been a strong supporter of the party, and they will continue to do so.
As I said, both of us from Bangalore, and so many issues related to Bangalore, 28 seats in Bangalore, so we'll have to discuss it. Over the last 2 years, we've seen pothole deaths, we've seen floods in 2 zones of Bangalore. Thankfully, other zones of Bangalore have been saved. There is a feeling amongst the people here that successive governments, whether BJP or Congress or the coalition government, haven't done enough for the city. Despite majority of the taxes going from the city is not getting back or getting the kind of importance that it should get. How does the BJP now plan to tackle this? Because several of your MLAs will be facing the music from people.
Harish, we both have grown up in Bangalore. It is a fact that the economic pace of the economic growth of the city far outpaced the infrastructure growth of the city. It is a fact that all of us must agree. And if you understand, or rather analyze as to why this happened, there is no two ways about it. The political will that was required by successive governments in the past, both at the center and at the state level, to push for growth of Bengaluru in the pace at which it was supposed to be done, was not seen. With the exception, I would say, the period when Atalji was the Prime Minister, when S.M. Krishna was the Chief Minister in Karnataka, and then later the focus again came back on Bengaluru when Yediyurappa formed the government for the first time. Take the suburban rail project for example. It's a project that was proposed 40 years ago. The idea was to connect the suburbs of the city through the train, but it was pending for 40 years. As a result of that, what was then the suburb now has become the urban.
Absolutely.
And this is just one case in point. The same is with the peripheral ring road. So now thankfully the Prime Minister has given us the STRR, the Satellite Township Ring Road project at a 17,000 crore project. Now almost 40% of the work has already gotten completed. So in the last 3.5 years, there has been absolute focus on creating next generation infrastructure for Bengaluru. I'll just give you a few examples. The suburban rail project, which was pending from 40 years, the Prime Minister came last year to Bengaluru, promised to complete it in 40 months. Exactly. The work is now in progress. It is happening at a fast pace. The Satellite Township Ring Road, which will help bypass most of the traffic that passes through the city. Almost 35-40% of the project is complete, and it is getting completed at a fast pace. That is happening. The metro connectivity, which was a paltry 7 kilometers in 2014, has now risen to 70 kilometers, and by end of next year it will touch 100 kilometers. And we are right now in Jayanagar. From Jayanagar, by end of next year, you will be able to reach Bengaluru International Airport in a flat 35-40 minutes. So today Bengaluru is already, after Delhi, the city with the largest network of metro, thanks to the efforts of the Prime Minister and the double engine government in the last 3.5 years. Harish, you know that BMTC is one of our largest public transport carriers in Bengaluru. It's the Bahubali of public transport. Yeah. The last 7-8 years, the fleet of the BMTC was almost near stagnant at around 6,500 buses. Under the FAME scheme, the central government and state government has now given 1,500 electric buses and augmented the capacity. The international airport, you and I are frequent travelers. We have travelled, the moment we would go there, the security check would take an hour and a half. The airport. Bengaluru desperately needed a new terminal. In 2019, the Prime Minister came, he did the Shankusthapana for the airport. despite 2 years of COVID, 2022, by the end of last year, we threw open Kempegowda Airport, beautiful airport terminal to the people of Bengaluru. Whether it is air traffic, whether it is land traffic, whether it is railway, all of these have happened to the city. Not just that, today Bengaluru, in the Prime Minister's vision, even this morning he mentioned, of how he envisages Bengaluru to be the node of connectivity for whole of South India. Bengaluru-Mysuru Expressway, completed and thrown open to public. Bengaluru-Chennai Greenfield Expressway, the work is happening. Bengaluru-Hyderabad, Bengaluru-Visakhapatnam, Bengaluru-Pune, Surat-Chennai Economic Corridor. All of these is going to benefit Bengaluru greatly, which is why the IMF in a recent study said that Bengaluru is India's fastest growing city today and will continue to be India's fastest growing city for the next 15 years.
Yes. In fact,
so this is why I feel, this is one point that is very important to be made, because all of these infrastructure projects are in progress, are at various stages of completion, is why you need a BJP government again in the state. Because we cannot afford a state government which will not push these infrastructure projects with the same enthusiasm with which this government is pushing.
While you're talking about infrastructure, one concern by several citizens is that there's no holistic plan for the city. I mean, we are in Bangalore, just look at the greenery in South Bangalore here. Many are saying that we do not have an elected council. All political parties were in cahoots to ensure there was no BBMP election. They're saying we do not have a planning authority that's looking at everything and ensuring there is seamless planning. We have a BDA, we have a BBMP, multiple agencies.
Correct.
How do you plan to address this? Because I know on a daily basis they're reaching out to you as well. How do you fix this long term?
We have already addressed this to an extent, and more work needs to be done. Because this is a city we all love to bits.
Absolutely.
The point that you made, which is a very important point of lack of coordination between different parastatals, is an issue that has been highlighted by city planners and urban thinkers from a long time in the city, which is why we introduced the new BBMP Act. One of the core principles behind the new BBMP Act was to bring these civic parastatals together. The other important legislation that we introduced, that Bommai government introduced just 6-7 months ago, was the BMLTA bill, which again was a demand from a long time. Today, there is no coordination between Metro with BMTC, with our Ola, Uber, last mile connectivity service providers, and other public transport parastatals, our police, traffic police, etc. So the Bangalore Metropolitan Land Transport Authority bill was also brought in to ensure seamless coordination between these agencies. So if at all any government has taken action in this regard to create seamless communication, coordination between the parastatals, it is us. And it is not something that we are promising that we will do tomorrow. It's something that we have already done and delivered. Which is why I am telling you, this time in Bengaluru, we will come close to getting 20 seats of the 28 assembly seats in Bengaluru.
Okay.
Because no city, no Prime Minister and no party has done has contributed to the growth of Bengaluru as much as Narendra Modi ji has done and as much as BJP has done. Whether it is water, Kaveri third phase, Kaveri fourth phase, it was the BJP which did. Whether it is the original Kempegowda International Airport, the Terminal 1, it was done again during the period of Vajpayee ji, when Anand Kumar ji was the Civil Aviation Minister. So all of these things, whether it is air transport, whether it is infrastructure, and even this time as we speak, because it's a growing city, large number of people are coming to Bengaluru. Among all metropolitan cities in the country, the city which has the highest number of beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, urban, is Bengaluru. In just my own constituency, there are more than 13,000 new houses that have been built in every constituency, you will see that. So we have done tremendously for the growth of Bengaluru, and the next 5 years is crucial for the city of, the city's growth, the state's growth, is why it is imperative to elect a double engine government.
Well, the sun is about to set, but Tejasvi's energy hasn't gone down. He's here in Jayanagar. Remember, it's one of those old Bangalore areas where the BJP is very strong. You can see the meeting is going on. A lot of people have turned up. Tejasvi, how important is Jayanagar for BJP? You've lost this seat. It's one of those areas which was the stronghold of the BJP. It was a wafer thin margin, if I'm not wrong, 1,000 odd votes. Yes. How important is Jayanagar for BJP this time?
Jayanagar is one of the oldest planned layouts of Bengaluru, and it was named after Jayachamarajendra Wadiyar, the great Mysore king, 1948, and it was one of the earliest planned layouts planned by Sir M. Vishwesvaraya himself. Traditionally, this has been a bastion of the BJP. Unfortunately, due to various factors, we lost this election last time by just 1,500, 2,000 odd votes. It was represented for a long time by one of our most respected, most loved leaders of Bengaluru, B.N. Vijay Kumarji. Even today, most of the people who have turned up very fondly remember him, interacting with him, and the work that he has done in this constituency. Unfortunately, we lost that, but I'm very confident that we will be able to win this seat with a very good margin this time. There is a lot of anti-incumbency against the sitting MLA. She has not done any work. She has not been accessible to the people. There are a lot of complaints by the people. And I'm sure that we will win with a handsome margin this time.
Now, as we come to the fag end of this conversation, there are questions about the chief ministerial case. The Congress says we'll declare it after we win elections. The High Command and the legislature party will declare. Is there clarity within the BJP? Although as a practice, when there is a sitting chief minister, the party fights it under his leadership. But can the BJP come out and say, if we come back to power, it's Mr. Bommai who will become chief minister?
Well, I don't think we need to come out and state what is obvious. In the last 3.5 years, the double-engine government has performed exceedingly well. And in the very limited time that Mr. Bommai has got over the last 1.5 years, he has performed exceedingly well. In fact, if you have seen some of the most pressing legacy problems, he has confronted them and solved them. Whether it was Mahadai DPR, whether it was Appar Bhadra, whether it was the decade-old political hot potato, which is the internal reservations, whether it was banning of the PFI, all of these very important decisions have been taken in the last 1.5 years under the leadership of Basavaraj Bommai. I am extremely confident that we will win under his leadership and he will continue to lead us.
Is Mr. Siddaramaiah a bigger opponent for the BJP? Would they be fine having a DK Shivakumar as CM in case Congress comes to power? Because many within the BJP say he's ideologically against us. DK Shivakumar, probably we won't have a problem. Is that the thought process?
I am a practitioner of politics in reality.
Okay.
I do not deal with politics in fiction and fantasy.
Okay.
So, the only possibility of a Congress Chief Minister in Karnataka can only be in fiction and fantasy.
Okay. Well, Tejasvi, thanks a lot for joining us today during your hectic campaign schedule, and all the best for the election.
Thank you so much, Harish.
Thank you.
Grateful.
Well, that was the special from Bengaluru. We'll continue getting more interviews and as well as ground reports. Thanks a lot for joining.